I grew up in a small town in Canada. I was home for Christmas a couple years ago and we were having a bit of a snowstorm. The power went out and we had to use the fireplace in our cabin. My sister and I started feeding the fire and pretty soon it was roaring. My dad got up to go pee and when he came back, he noticed a draft coming from the chimney. He opened the door and stepped outside to close it, but when he did, he noticed that there was no snow on top of the chimney, even though it was a heavy, wet snow. And there was a very dark opening at the top. He came back inside and told us that we had to get out of the cabin right now, that we needed to get out of there immediately. He didn't say anything else. He just started grabbing all of our things and shoving them into the car. We got in the car and he sped off down the highway. It was only about 5 minutes until we got to the highway, which was strange because usually it took at least 30 minutes to get there. When we got onto the highway, he started driving faster than I've ever seen him drive before. We were probably doing at least 150 kilometers per hour. And then we started passing these mile markers. And at every single one, my dad would slam on the brakes and turn the wheel at the last second. And we would either swerve off the road or clip the side of the ditch. But every time he did this, he would hit the gas again and we'd take off again, speeding down the highway. And he kept doing this over and over again. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Finally, we got to my aunt's house and she wasn't expecting us at all. She opened the door and my dad immediately started yelling at her, saying that we had to leave now. And he grabbed all of our stuff again and we left. He drove us all the way to the next town over and then he finally stopped and went into a motel. We didn't even bother checking if the room was clean or anything. We just ran to it, and I remember thinking, what the hell? Why are we doing this? What's going on? We barely made it into the room when we heard this loud banging noise, and my dad looked at us, his eyes were wide with fear and he said, get under the bed, and we did. And then we heard this noise again, bang, and something big and heavy landed in the room. We stayed under the bed for what felt like hours, but it was probably only a few minutes. And then we heard voices outside the door, and my dad whispered, it's okay, come out. So we got out from under the bed and we looked around the room. And my dad was standing there with a baseball bat and he had this wild look on his face. He looked at us and he said, pack your things, we're leaving. And that was the scariest moment of my life because I knew something really bad was coming. We packed our stuff as fast as we could and we left. We got back into the car and my dad drove us back up north. When we got to my aunt's house, we didn't even knock. We just let ourselves in and we hid in her basement. And then my uncle came down the stairs and he looked at us and he said, what the hell is going on? And my dad looked at him and he said, you need to get us out of here, now.